from my neck of the woods.
Hello again on this first ever podcast emission of Smilo. We'll be talking about small islands today again. I'm very happy to have friends from Green Overseas with us and also Fauna and Flora. Today we are here to discuss the place of islands in the ocean conservation fight that was discussed these days here in Nice at the UN Ocean Conference. So we have the chance to have the program director, Ahab Donor, who will tell us, please, some about the intentions you had when coming to Nice, and actually who is Green Overseas.
Excellent, thanks, Sylvain. The Green Overseas program, it's an EU-funded program. It's a 5-year program working across 25 overseas countries and territories to promote and facilitate climate change resilience and transition towards lower carbon economies, or energy transition as we call it. And we also work quite a bit on what we call sustainable financing or climate finance, because we have some 18 million euros over 5 years for 25 overseas countries and territories. And that's clearly not a lot, or certainly not enough to solution all their current and or future problems related to climate. But we really work on strengthening capacity of individuals across these OCTs. We really look to promote networking opportunities across these OCTs. And we also do a good many pilot projects across these 25 overseas countries and territories. Today we have some 34 pilot projects occurring across 24 territories, and they might be monitoring of sea level rise and erosion across the Tuamotus in French Polynesia or New Caledonia, to updating the building codes to integrate energy transition and climate resilience in Bermuda. We were just talking about Montserrat, where we're looking to preserve a watershed and to facilitate access to clean water. So these are pilot projects that are related to climate resilience, and we do a lot of in-person workshopping for individuals across these territories to make sure that they can, undertake these activities more effectively in the future. If we're here at UNOC, or if I'm here at UNOC, I came with a team, and this year we thought it was really important to mobilize the youth. And we brought 10 overseas countries and territory representatives with us. 2 of them are here with us today. We feel it's important that the youth across these ocean countries and territories get involved, have a voice, get to exchange and rub shoulders with decision makers, with technicians, with scientists and whatnot. And so that was a major thrust of the Green Overseas program at this UNOC 2025.
Can you tell us how do you select it, and how those 10 young professionals for this event and for this mission?
Yeah, I can. We reached out to, we have focal points in each of our overseas countries and territories with whom we liaise on a regular basis. And we asked them to reach out to the youth across their territory or country, and to make it known that we were looking to identify 10 youth, and they came back with a list of individuals, and we asked them to share with us what their aspirations were, what they're passionate about, why they might want to participate in a conference such as this, what they had to share and whatnot. And based on what they shared with us, we made a selection. We had a great many applicants, and we were very pleased to have very strong candidates. But ultimately, we had to pick 10. And we have 6 coming from EU overseas countries and territories, and 4 coming from UK overseas countries and territories.
Okay, thank you. So maybe let's go to Montserrat then. How did it go? What was your motivation in that candidacy to join overseas crowd and group of people for UNOC here in Nice?
Well, since Montserrat is somewhat of a very not so popular island, we kind of don't really get much of an opportunity to actually showcase and show our support in regards to the call to action. So, as current Queen, Youth Ambassador, and Youth Parliamentarian of Montserrat, I took on the opportunity to put my people on the map and show that we have a lot of promising young people back at home who are willing to fight for the change. So I'm just showing them that yes, it is possible once you put your mind to it, and it will happen. Thank you.
Well, can you tell us some about your background? What is your field of like? What did you study, or what was your professional aspirations? In which field? Which is your field of practice?
So I'm a newly graduate from the Montserrat Community College. I study chemistry and biology. I would like to be a veterinarian. Not fully sure in what field, but definitely in marine, either marine and land. And I do plan on going to university, probably the UE campus. And with this amazing opportunity, I could also strengthen my experiences and also share more for my youth back at home.
Same question for your colleague from St. Martin's. What were your motivation? How did you fight for joining this crew of people with overseas?
Well, I'm also right now a member of the OCT Youth Network, which is also another EU-funded program. It's a one-year mandate, and the one-year mandate is coming up in the ending of this month. But through that, I was able to learn much more about a lot of other great opportunities and work being done in the region for conservation. And that's how I got connected with the GO program. And I think for me, St. Martin is a very unique place. It's the French side, it's the Dutch side, which means two slightly different approaches to legislation, policy. But there's free flow in between the two sides. It's one landmass, but there's also slightly different approaches to managing it. On the Dutch side, we kind of have to balance our tourism-driven economy with the cruise ships impacting marine life, but also how do we manage it that we have a sustainable economy, but that's financially sustainable, but also economically sustainable. And that was my main motivation for joining the program and seeing how we can actually live one with the ocean, because we'll always need the ocean. The ocean will always need us.
That's true.
So we have to be able to manage it.
Yes, better know how to handle. Ehab, I know you have to run. We're here talking, but the UN Ocean Conference is still running, and I know you're busy still. The Blue Zone is waiting for you, but can you maybe some words that now you came to mind that we will take back home after those days, even though it's not finished? What do you take away from these events and that week here?
Well, I think it's been a very interesting week for me and my team and our youth ambassadors. There's certainly been some, I think, encouraging commitments on the part of different nations across the globe with regard to deep sea marine areas. And also, French Polynesia made a pledge of an MPA that is quite extraordinary. There's been a great many other pledges of protected areas, so I think that's encouraging. Of course, it's insufficient in order to preserve our ocean sustainably, but it deserves recognition. So there's progress. And my takeaway, this is an effort bringing these youth here. At the GO program and Expertise France, from which we operate from within, we're very encouraged to see how engaged and how passionate the youth are that we brought here, and when we give them the microphone and we give them a voice, they have a great deal to say. And I think it's for me, it's been an eye opener. We were all young and had ideas. we didn't all have the ability to share it in such an eloquent way as a lot of the youth ambassadors we brought. And so my team and our partners, all the territories that we work with, I think are especially pleased to have had the opportunity to bring them here. And we look forward to promoting their voice in addition to those of others across their territories going forward.
Thank you, Ehab. Thank you for joining this new format and new media for us, and thanks for making this initiative what it is. We were super happy to have the chance to cooperate with Green Overseas, and I think there is many more things to do together. So, thank you very much for joining us.
Sylvain, thanks very much. It's been a real pleasure, and thanks for making this opportunity for me and my colleagues.
Thank you, sir.
Good day.
We will continue to. Merci à toi. I will go to Ricardo. Now we will stay in the Atlantic, but we'll move forward towards the east, towards Sao Tome and Principe, a small island developing state made of two islands. I know that for you the two are important, but since we Smilo are working on Principe, we have this stronger focus and interest on Principe, but they are a pair and they go together. You work for Fauna and Flora. Can you tell us in a few words what is the main actions you run in terms of managing the natural resources in Principe, and how also in Sao Tome? And how this alliance actually reflects with your work, island versus management of protected area.
Okay, thank you. Just let me explain a little bit what we've been doing there. Well, we started these works in 2018, so we've been working for more than 7 years. So our main activity is to engage the fishing communities. In the beginning of the process, we started working with them to sensitize the importance of MPAs, the sustainable fisheries, and so after this step, we started working with them to create some groups to know much better how to manage the MPAs, how they can be included. So I can summarize that we need to include the fishers communities during the whole process, and so so it's important to include them not just in the fishers management. We should offer them alternative incomes, other opportunities to live, because as you know, it's a small island. They don't have so many opportunities. We need to provide them some training courses, business management. We are also able to offer them specific trainings that they want to know a little bit more, because a lot of people are moving to other countries.
Can you give us one example of these workshops and trainings you do, especially with these the fisher folks?
Well, we started doing some specific training about fishers co-management, because once the MPAs I can say that they are already implemented. We received some good news during this UNOC. Our Minister of Environment announced the first 8 MPAs in the country. We will have 6 MPAs on Príncipe Island. So after this announcement, we will be able to work together with them in a process like fishers co-management. We can also offer them business management. But a couple of years ago, we started working with them as well with trainings like barbershop, beauty salon, bakery.
Basically proposing other sources of income.
Yes, because they live close to the coast. They depend a lot on the fisher's resource. And as you know, we'll have a high overfishing there. So we need to offer other opportunities, because they live for fishing. If they don't if they don't fish anything in a specific day, they don't have anything to eat.
So this is creating other and new opportunities, working with the fishermen, who is also the target groups, if you may call it like that. And I don't like to use this jargon, but who are the main groups you're able to work with and to carry that transition effort?
Well, the first group are the fishers and the fish traders. The fishers, we just have men. No women go to the sea. So, and the fish traders are the women. And so they are the first group. After this group, we also want to increase our partnership with the private sector. Like in Príncipe, we have a big resort that they are able to offer opportunities to work. They offer much more jobs than the government. They offer, I don't know, but maybe I'm wrong, but I think they offer around 800 jobs for them. And yes, and so I think...
Remind us how many people live in Príncipe.
Yes, in Príncipe we have around 7,000 people. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, big chunk of people from
and
there.
you also to include them in the process to monitor and patrol the MPAs, and we can also employ them. We also have specific budget lines that we can pay them to work in these areas. And yes, I think I'm really excited for the next steps.
No, thank you for this. You really showcase how Fauna Flora as a NGO, a civil society actor, is oiling the wheel in these efforts when it needs coordination and structure.
And sorry, before you go ahead, I would like to include the government authorities. I think they are really important during the whole process. We depend them a lot, and we also want to provide specific training to them, like safety, vigilance, all the things that they can be able to approach the fishers, how they can collect good data, because they have limited infrastructure. So we want to increase their local capacity as well.
This is also something that you, in terms of being a facilitator, you are part of this dialogue, and then making sure that you guys work in complementary ways with the government and all that.
Yeah, and I cannot forget to mention my partners. They are really good. We work together with Fundação Príncipe, and so Fauna Flora is the leader of the project. We also have another two partners, but they are only based on São Tomé Island. But I would like to highlight more Fundação Príncipe. They've been doing a good job. They've been working with marine conservation and some project with the natural park, because we will have a big natural park there. I don't know if you know, but Príncipe Island is considered a biosphere reserve, so we have several endemic species. So yeah, we have several opportunities there.
No, thank you. Let's travel back to Montserrat and see. Here we highlighted the role through the work of Fauna Flora and Ricardo's job on the ground, the importance of the civil society in being a facilitator what is the situation on your island? How is the civil society involved in all these projects related to ocean conservation and sustainable development of the island? What is your take on the civil society role and dynamism?
Okay, so because Montserrat is a volcanic island, most of our coral reefs within the ocean line are starting to deplete due to like coastal bleaching and all these other stuff. But we do have organizations like Fish and Fins who try to incorporate young people in what I should say, like coastal planning and gardening. So we're trying to rehabilitate our coastal regions, as well as we have a sea turtle action plan where it helps our sea turtles when they come to our bays to ensure that they have safe laying areas and other policies in store for that. And with these, I actually do like the fact that they, sorry. Yes, with these, I do love the fact that they put more effort and understanding why it is important, because at the end of the day, our ocean is our home, and in order for us to care about them, we have to show love, and in order for us to love them, we need to find ways to protect them. So I feel like as we continue to find more ways to preserve the ocean life, because with our natural disasters, that is our main reason, is not really much man-made. So despite that, if we can try to combat that, we will have a better outcome.
Okay, no, you say something that I think resonates with something that was widely said, but then easier said than done. It's the education and awareness rising around those teams. Is there a work with the youngs, the schools, etc.? How are they involved at their level as well?
Yes, so we have Fish and Fins, like I mentioned before, that was established in 2015 by Vita Wade, and it basically teaches our young people how to snorkel as well as involve them with marine sciences, because we have a few marine scientists currently on the island, like checking out our coastal regions as well. So we try to get the youth more involved with that, because in order for us to preserve ocean life for many more generations, it begins with the young people. So we have to continue educating and promoting more technical projects to involve our youth, because they are our future, and in order for us to have something to give on to them, we need to ensure that they are prepared and know what is at stake.
Absolutely, same. So I like same question. I like this parallel discussion into like two neighbor islands almost. How is the in this specific context you told us about, or you reminded us of Saint Martin's and Saint Martin. How is the dynamism of the civil society in this field of conservation, and also if you could reflect on the role of education and what is your take on this as regards your island?
So there's several NGOs that work throughout the island, and they're definitely essential to promoting the message of marine conservation. So one of the most well-known ones are the Nature Foundation, which work in anything as far as inspecting the lagoon, ensuring and tagging lionfish, because that's also a big issue on our island, tracking the sharks. There's also EPIC. There's also a sub NGO from EPIC, which takes plastics and makes it into other items, recycling the plastics. And I think what I really appreciate about the Nature Foundation is they work very close with the government. Okay. So when Parliament is discussing any environmentally relevant initiatives, there's always a question as, has Nature Foundation reviewed this? What is Nature Foundation's take? How are they considered? And for me, I remember when I was in, I would say like maybe kindergarten, so just to show how long Nature Foundation has been working at the educating the youths, right? There was a session where they came into school, and it was kind of like a scavenger hunt / gamifying environmental conservationism, so that you can teach it to kids from 4 or 5. And that's something that stuck with me, because I still remember the mascot's name. And I always reflect back on, it's nice that there's a mascot, so I can always think that, okay, I associate Nature Foundation with keeping our island clean, cleaning up, don't litter, why the importance of keeping our beaches and our ocean safe. So I think at times, the people in the community, we don't always see the legislation and the policies. We may feel it in our daily lives, but the role of the NGOs is to help to put it really in your face and break it down to a simple enough level that even a 4-year-old can understand.
Nice. Thanks for sharing that. You answered very well the 2 questions in one answer. It's well wrapped, so that's good. Would you say it's so there is, you say, plenty and two. Are you happy with the level of dynamism from this local civil society? Is there enough, or you think there is?
I think they're definitely doing the best with what they have, but obviously,
they need to go
in line with UNOC, right? We can always use more funding for the for the foundations and the NGOs to be able to continue to do the work and support that initiative.
That you said also something I think it's very interesting. Maybe just to go back to Principe on that, I think you also touched on this. One of the key ingredients for this long-lasting work of NGO and to stay on the long run, because it cannot be project-based, this education and then the work on the ground. What would you say is key to build trust? Because then trust as regards to the inhabitants you work with, and as you said, also with the government. How do you handle this and navigate those waters? What is key? What is your advice to others?
The key is to keep in touch them frequently. Every week we should go to the field to explain what we've been doing. We should include them in all the meetings that we are able to invite them. We should update the government authorities what we've been doing in our project. We need to include them in some specific workshops. We need to know more their needs, what they need to improve their knowledge, their local capacity, everything, and we are able to offer all of this. We are able to buy safety and surveillance equipment, both. We want that they will be able to do their best job.
I think I have a question then, just to also compare the two islands if it's possible, since like Sao Tome is the big brother, if you know in a sense, and Principe the small sister or brother or whatever. But then, since you're working on both, is the fact that Principe is smaller and then everything is also the social ties might be stronger, and would you say it's easier to work in Principe since everything might be closed, or it's easier in Sao Tome, or I don't know if it's an easy question to answer, but can you reflect on that?
Yeah, it's not so simple, but I can say that on Principe Island we have like a double isolation. It's much harder to find products. They don't have so many things to buy, even electronic equipment. So they depend a lot on the main island, São Tomé and Príncipe. But the good thing is that it's a small city. It's much easier to have meetings with the government authorities, to keep in touch with the fishing communities as well. And I think Príncipe have this mind about conservation much harder, much stronger than São Tomé Island. Okay. Like if you go to the Príncipe Island, you see that you don't see a lot of garbage, a lot of trashes around the city. And if you go to São Tomé, it's much harder to work because on São Tomé Island we have around 200,000 people. So but I think one of the main challenges for Príncipe Island is that they don't receive the good attention from the national government.
That's a hot topic. Yeah. That's the double insularity. Is not just an issue in terms of goods, but also in terms of voters, maybe.
Yes. And they don't receive opportunity to travel like So we need to include them because they have different ideas. I think we can learn a lot with them.
Thank you for that. So before we wrap up, I keep you, Ricardo, a little bit more. Maybe can we reflect with the two? I will let you. I don't know. You decide who starts. But then, what can you tell us about this? Now we discussed the interrelation in between two islands, which are very isolated. São Tomé and Príncipe has no island neighbors. But when in the Caribbean, we see this huge archipelago. I don't know if there is any dialogue between your two islands or between your neighboring islands. And again, in your specific case of St. Martin's, like how would you characterize this dialogue? Are you stronger together, or it's still something you need to strengthen? Yes, maybe you can tell us about this dialogue between Caribbean islands.
Well, okay, so on St. Martin specifically, I'm going to keep saying it's very complex, right? So whenever it's a large-scale emergency, let's say back when we had Hurricane Irma, all of the formal rules kind of fell because we know we're one island, the entire island was hit. We have to work together to figure it out. Whatever formal chains of communication, we'll deal with that after. But like right now, people on the ground, we all need to work together to help each other. At a more out of the emergency state, yeah, it can be complex, right? So I work in public health, and we always say like the mosquitoes don't stop at the border. So typically, if it's a dengue situation on one side of the island, we have that close line of communication with our counterparts on the other side that we can work to it together if it's that need. But generally, it's something that each side can handle on its own. Okay. But there are also many regional-based organizations that we collaborate with together. The Caribbean Public Health Agency, the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States. Yeah, so there is elements of regional collaboration. Also for the Dutch islands, we work on certain topics at the Vierlanden level. So Curaçao, Aruba, St. Martin, Saba, St. Eustace, and Bonaire. We try to work together at, the example I always use is that we're singing the same song, but we're playing different instruments so that we're at least moving in the same direction.
That's a very good one. Okay, fair enough.
So we're going towards the same place, but because of the local context, you may need to play the drums or play the guitar. So I think it's about working together to harmonize it. Because someone said it this week that the tuna doesn't know if it's in Bermuda or St. Martin. So whatever ocean policies we have, there needs to be a level of harmonization. So it can't be that a species is protected here, but protected somewhere else, and we don't take into consideration their mating patterns where we may end up not actually conserving and protecting what we want to protect.
Yeah, totally. What do you think about this collaboration at the regional level or with your neighbor islands?
So just piggybacking off of Cheyenne saying about harmonization, this is exactly why we have regional organizations like the OECS and CARICOM, where they create policies to create a communicable umbrella for all of the islands. And one thing at the UN Ocean Conference that kind of resonated with me in terms of the OECS was the blueprint, the blue economy for Eastern Caribbean. I think with the start of it, it can help, especially the fact that we are all impacted by climate change. And at this point, we need to stick together. And as a Caribbean, though we do have like 50 members within the OECS, we should definitely try to expand. I realized we have St. Martin on. Hopefully we could get both islands in and probably expand wider throughout the Caribbean. But I feel like as we're continuing, I feel like harmonization is strengthening, whether it's through education or just for marine conservation. And once we stick with the idea that we are all one people surrounded by one ocean, anything would be endless.
Thank you. So maybe now to wrap up, I can ask you to give me. We're not finished yet, and Ricardo has to run now to some events, and so it's Friday, so it's closing today, but still, maybe in one word, it's not easy, and tell me why would that word for you symbolize that time you spent here in the UNOC, and you would like to share with our viewers?
Ownership. I think we have to increase the ownership, not just between the organizations, but I think we need to find a way that we can include the local leaders, the local communities to be part of that. They need to be in this kind of events. And I know that there's some language barriers, but it's possible. We will have translators. I think to be really good to hear their message. This is the main thing.
Thank you, but I think with voices like you, we have like an amplifying effect, and so we need more of testimonies like yours. I think the filter you have is not one of distorting too much what they're living. But so thank you for this. Cheyenne, what would be your word?
I have two words, but it's one concept.
Very
So it's the concept of One Health and planetary health. The ocean isn't just something like separate from us. Neither is like the planet, right? Whatever happens on the ocean directly affects the planet, vice versa. And it's not just keeping our waters clean, keeping the fish alive. That directly impacts our health. And if we can promote and raise more awareness to the deep tide connection between us as well as the ocean, I think we'll be able to get further in conservation and the fight against climate change. Because it's, unfortunately, humans, we can see the value in protecting something more if we see how it directly benefits us and keeps us safe.
Thank you for this. I think that's something I heard this week of a dialogue between someone from France and then someone I think from New Caledonia, and they were discussing. Say, yeah, we need to do this and that, to support the restoration of those ecosystems. And then there was this misunderstanding between them because the person from New Caledonia was saying, but there is no like ecosystem, as you said, for the ocean or the planet, and us being something. We are just one. So yeah, thank you for this, for these two words. What about you?
I would say hopeful, in the sense that it shows that we do have a passion, we do believe, and if we didn't have the hope and faith in a promising future for ocean life, we wouldn't be here today. And one thing I love about the UNOC is the fact that they saw the hope in our young people in creating change and being a call to action. So I think, well, it ties into another word, passion, because you see a lot of passionate young persons throughout this entire, and I realized it a lot because with Cheyenne, who advocates for health, especially ocean health, it just shows that, yeah, we need our young people to have hope, to have passion, and fight. Because one thing I remember from the UNOC is this saying, I'm not good at French, so I will not say it in French, but I will say it in English. It says that man needs the sea, and when he destroys it, he destroys himself. And that resonates with me very much passionately, because it's very much true, because without the ocean, what would we do? So yeah, it's very much hopeful.
Let's keep hope. So thank you so much. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you for having us.
That's it for today.